Hey, what's going on, guys? This is an equipment knowledge guide on understanding barbering tools. This will be really good information if you're just starting out barbering with your career. If you're looking for new clippers or if you just want to know a little bit more about the craft, my name's ScissorHands, and we're going to dive into it. First, a little bit about me. I'm an educator over at the Paul Mitchell School. I own a barber shop here in Wisconsin. It's called the Go Barber Club. And I just really have a lot of passion for what I do, and I just love to share the information and get the knowledge out there. So let's get into it, guys. So first things first, main type of clippers. So both barbers and cosmetologists will use clippers at some point in their careers, so it's extremely important to know the differences between them and when to use each. So there's three types of clippers that barbers use to typically cut shorter hair and longer hair. We've got the detachable, the adjustable, and then of course you've got your trimmer, and I didn't put shavers on here. We'll break that down in a later video. So diving into the detachable clipper. So the detachable blade clipper is the most powerful one we use today. As the name suggests, its blades can be removed and changed out depending on how long your customer wants his hair to be or their hair to be. These blades range from 3 3/4 blades all the way down to the 5/0 blade, and some people like to call it the 5/0. So the smaller the number on the blade, the shorter the clippers will cut the hair. For example, the 3/4 inch blade cuts the hair to about 1/2 inch in length, while the 5/0 blade kind of shears off the hair and almost gives you like a completely bald look. So those would be like your balders if you use like the wall balding clippers. So detachable clippers are so powerful they can cut through longer, thicker hair, even wet hair. Many barbers use different size blades for fades and shorter for beard trimming as well. So detachable blades. So there's the two most popular types of detachable blades or brands are the Andes and the Auster blade. It's possible to do an entire fade using only detachable blades, but you really have to focus on clipper angle and mastering the art of chipping with the corner of the clipper and not using the full extent of the blade if you don't need to. And then the other type is the adjustable clipper. So another popular type of clipper, of course, is the adjustable, and once again the name kind of gives away its function. The adjustable clipper has a lever on the side of the handle that changes the length of the blade. So it cuts shorter with the lever closed and longer with it open. This clipper also has plastic attachments that can be used to cut hair to a longer length. Those are called guards. These are commonly referred to with numbers ranging from 1 through 8, and they do have a 9 and 10 as well, but it's a little harder to find. But it's easier to refer to them as their actual measurements because classifications can differ based on the manufacturer. So generally, the lower the number, the shorter the clipper will cut. These plastic attachments work best with dry hair. And popular guards for your clippers. So the most popular guards are the Wall Premium guards, the Andes magnetic guards, and then I have been seeing the Speedo and the Gamma guards pick up in popularity as well. They are similar in functionality, but there are some big differences when it comes to the specific measurements. For example, Andes guards don't typically come with the 1.5 guard, and that's because they allow you to skip straight from the number 1 guard into the number 2 when you're blending. So the wall guard system, it's important to remember not only the number of the guard that you're using, like 1, 2, 3, 4, but also what specific measurement it also represents in inches and also millimeters to deeper understand why and how each guard blends and guides us to the next corresponding length to achieve an overall blurrier transition and happier client, because that's why we're doing this. And then just to kind of take a look at the measurements here, shows the wall guard system and also the Andes guards. And when you're using the Andes guard system, you have to be cautiously aware that you don't have the 1.5 guard if you're used to using wall. So while blending, you have to ensure you have clean, consistent clipper strokes and maintain proper angles with your rock out motion as you progress through your blending process. If not, you may notice that while you're trying to erase guidelines, especially in those shorter links, like in between your lever closed and lever open with no guard on there and your half guard, it'll be a little more difficult to try and erase those lines, and it looks like you may be pushing up the line of demarcation instead of erasing it. and you don't want to go back and have to try and erase something, especially if you're putting in a hard line with your trimmer first, just because it's more work and time is money. So some adjustable clippers are actually compatible with different brands, like for example the fast feeds. When you zero gap those, and one other thing you can do is put the ceramic teeth on it, and the cutting teeth are the ones on the inside, and the steel blade is the one on top that doesn't move. The cutting teeth are the ones that move, and you can actually use Andy's guards with the Oster fast feeds that I have here in the slide, and some of the other ones work as well. I use the Gammas, for example, the X Ergos. I use my wall premium guards on those too, and they work just fine. So then just breaking down the difference between some of the guards. So as you can see, the wall premium guards are a little sturdier, and what I like about them is that they don't actually bend or flex with the curvature of the head like some of the wall standard guards and some of the less premium options. Even though having it be color coordinated is pretty helpful, just trying to remember, okay, blue is my half, black is my 1, red is my 1.5. That's very helpful, but as far as quality is concerned, the premium guards are just a little sturdier, and I find that they help me be a little more consistent with my blending. So then let's get into the different types of trimmers. So first, we'll kind of break down what makes them different and what are some of the major differences. Of course, we have corded trimmers and we have cordless trimmers, and that's kind of like the new wave. So trimmers usually fall into those two categories. Not only that, but we have the square blade versus the T-blade, and then we have lithium ion batteries, and then we have NiMH batteries. And then of course, one of the other differences is the functionality. So a lot of trimmers, they're advertising, heavy hitters, and we also have just like general kind of all-purpose trimmers that are safe for everybody. So pros and cons of the cordless clippers. So pros of going cordless is one thing I really enjoy is that they're a lot more lightweight. I find that they're easier to handle just because I have full dexterity and I don't have to wrestle with the cord anymore. More versatility around the ear is really nice as well, just because I don't have to hold that cord with the other hand, and of course no cord. And then also it gives you the freedom to walk around the client without having to kind of swing that cord around. And some of the cons of going cordless are limited runtime between charges, even though most of them sit around about 120 minutes battery before they die, and slightly less power output, and typically a lot of the cordless ones are a little more expensive, but I think it's worth it. And sometimes you may have to do some modifications, but that's with the corded versions as well. So square blade versus T-blade. So the differences between these two blades is that the T-blade's curved edge enable easy handling and better access for trimming around the ears, back of the neck, beards, mustaches, and cutting designs into the hair. And for everything else, general shaving. So why does the battery type matter? So the big difference, and one of the big advantages I would say also when kind of paying attention to what type of battery you're going to use, the lithium ion battery only takes about an hour or less to charge it, and then when you're done charging it, you actually can't overcharge the lithium ion battery, which is nice, so you don't have to worry about conditioning the battery as much. Second, the trimmer will run for at least a couple hours instead of just half an hour, and it has more torque, which also could be more helpful if you need a little more power, a little more output, especially if you're going through like very coarse beards, things like that, so that way it doesn't tug. And last, one thing that I think is really good is that when the trimmer dies, or as the battery starts to die, instead of having the battery or the trimmer kind of slow down gradually, what happens is with the lithium ion battery is you have consistent power supply up until the point where the trimmer actually dies. So you remember those old school cordless trimmers where the battery starts to die, next thing you know you're like tugging hairs just because you're losing power as the battery dies? You don't got to worry about that with the lithium ion battery. So functionality and purpose. So you've got your heavy hitters and then you got your all-purpose. And knowing the difference between the various tools is equally as important in knowing when to utilize them in a practical situation. So when to use the heavy hitters. When doing the lineup area, a lot of guys like that more clean, kind of more distinguished look when the client has coarse hair. And when people don't have sensitive skin, because even if your client does have coarse hair, he may have sensitive skin or may be prone to the ingrowns. And also if you're going for like a photo, that more kind of Instagram finish, maybe you're posting for social media, you want to pull out your heavy hitters for that one and give that lineup a real crisp, clean look. and when to use your all-purpose trimmer. And typically what I mean by that is, you know, it'd be the ones that kind of have more of a deep tooth blade setup instead of the fine teeth, where the heavy hitters typically have more of a fine tooth on the cutting teeth, and our heavy hitters usually you find that, I mean, in our all-purpose usually you'll find that they have more of a deep tooth cutting blade. So I like to use my all-purpose trimmer when my client does in fact have sensitive skin. Also when I'm working with kids or elderly clients, and if the client prefers more of a natural, kind of softer, more lived-in look. And if I start off using my heavy hitters and my client's getting uncomfortable, I'll switch over to my all-purpose. And that's just a quick rundown and kind of breakdown on just some basic tools and equipment. We'll break down shears in another video, but for now, you know, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions or comment, drop them in there, and I'll try to get back to everybody. If you like more educational videos like this, breaking down the clippers, if you found this video helpful, if you didn't like it, dislike it. If you did like it, give me a thumbs up. Stay busy out there, guys. Stay safe, and let's keep making our clients happy.